Hi everyone, Alex Gent here. So today I'm going to continue talking about figure 8 spins, and this time how you can use footwork to move while spinning. If you haven't already seen my previous video on figure 8 spins, then I'll put a link either above or in the description down below. Otherwise, let's get into it. The key point to understand before introducing footwork is that a forward spin on one side links in with the backward spin on the opposite side, and vice versa. If, for example, I was spinning in a forwards figure 8 here, as I let it sweep down in this arc, I stop and note to myself I started with a forwards figure 8, so now this needs to be a backwards figure 8, and then I continue with the backwards figure 8. And then again, when I take it back over, I take it back over the top and pause, and then go back to a forwards figure 8. And the same could be done if I was going backwards. So if I was going backwards, I take it over the top, stop, and now I'm back into a forwards figure 8. Stop, sweep back over, and now I'm back into a backwards figure 8. And when you have this movement where you feel that you're comfortable, you can then let it just flow from side to side. You also want to maintain clean planes. So if you can create a visual barrier either side of you, and if you can see here, I've got two lines, here and here. If I was spinning, I don't want to let it stray over those lines like this. I want to try and keep everything nice and tight, so it doesn't go outside of those lines. So then when you're turning, it actually makes things a lot easier. If I show you side on, like this, as I take it over to this side, you can see it still remains within that boundary. Same when I go back over to the other side. I'm not letting it drift either side by doing something like this or taking it outwards. You just want to make sure that you keep it within that boundary whilst you're spinning. The other important point to understand is where the staff is in relation to me as a spinner. So if, for example, I was spinning here in this position, to me it feels like I'm spinning front to back. But if I turn my hips and I face this direction, it now feels like I'm spinning side to side. But to you as a viewer, it still looks the same. So the first step to try is getting this feeling where you've got it spinning front to back, and then rotating your hips where it's now side to side, but the spin hasn't really changed, it's just my body that's moved. So here's front to back, and then side to side. You can also do this both directions. You can then turn, and this time when we're side on, take the front leg back, and now we're in this position, which is spinning across your body. You can then take another step forward and then turn back square. So we're just moving one foot and pivoting on the other. So, yeah. And if you need to break it down, so stop and continue the figure 8, stop, take a step back, and then continue the figure 8, stop. And you can just pause between those points if you need to, until you can do it smoothly. Again, practice that both directions and both sides. So you also want to practice stepping back while spinning across your body. So in this position, I take a step back, continue spinning, and just get used to this, being able to step forward and backwards while spinning, and then go square, and now we can join it up with the other side. We step back, step forwards, and then continue the movement through to the other side as well. So now we're moving from side to side, being able to step forwards and backwards. If I'm spinning forwards in this position and I take my foot back, I can continue the movement this way towards the wall, spin, and now I'm backwards on the opposite side, and then take a step and then back to the beginning again. So I've continued the movement round rather than reversing it. So from this position, I could stop, sweep round to this side, continue the figure 8 in a backwards motion, step, and now I'm back to the opposite side again. We could just continue that until it becomes fluid and continuous. Again, you can go both directions with this. Step this way and back. In my last video I talked about hand transfers, and this is something you can introduce whilst moving. A good way to practice this is actually timing your step with your hand change. If, for example, I'm spinning in a forwards figure 8 here, I can change on this side to my left hand, and I'm going to step with my left foot there so it lands together in this position. Do the same again if I step on my right side, changes there, and the step comes at the same time as I release with the other hand. If I change to the other side here, I'm going to start to receive it with my left hand, and then I'm going to take a step back with my left leg there. So I fully release at that point. Again, if I take a step forward with my left, take a step forward, and I'm now in this position. So you could stop and pause between these changes so you become comfortable with the movement. So if I'm spinning here, I could change, there, stop, change, stop. Just get used to just these different changes. Like I say, you could do a change like this and take it across your body, or you could change it like this. There's so many different changes. Again, I've done a video on this talking about that, and that's just something you can experiment with, these different positions. And once you've done that, you can try the changes above your head as well, which is the same idea. In this position, I can change and step at the same time. Once you're comfortable with these aspects, it's just a matter of practicing, experimenting, and linking everything together. If you've got any questions about what I've covered, please leave them in the comments below, and please remember to like, share and subscribe, as this helps the channel grow. In my next video I plan to look at staff spinning and whether it has any martial application. Anyway, until then, take care and I'll see you soon.